Imagine this for a moment. You are holding a handful of old change. You think it is nothing more than silver-colored coins that have passed through 1,000 hands. But what if, one of those tiny dimes hiding in your pocket is worth more than a luxury home, more than a lifetime of paychecks, more than you could ever dream a single coin could hold in its shine? Tonight, right here on Rare Coin Secrets USA, we're not talking about fantasy, we're not talking about tall tales. We're talking about treasures hidden in plain sight. Treasures so rare, so extraordinary that collectors are fighting tooth and nail at auctions, throwing down hundreds of thousands of dollars for just a single Mercury dime. Yes, you heard that right, a dime. A coin you might have overlooked, a coin your grandparents may have once spent on candy, could today be your golden ticket to life-changing wealth. Stay with me because over the next few minutes, I'm going to take you deep into the vault of numismatic secrets, revealing the top 10 most valuable and ultra-rare Mercury dimes that are making headlines in today's auction market. Each coin has its own legend, its own story, its own shockwave value that will make your heart race. And if you think this is just hype, think again. These prices are real. These treasures are climbing in value every single day, and one of them could be in your very own pocket right now. Welcome to Rare Coin Secrets USA, where hidden fortunes become unforgettable stories. Let's dive into our first breathtaking treasure. The year was 1930. America was on the edge of the Great Depression. Jobs were disappearing, breadlines were forming, and every dime truly mattered. In the midst of that uncertainty, the U.S. Mint struck a coin so elegant, so full of history, that it would later become one of the greatest hidden treasures in the Mercury dime series, the 1930 no-mint mark Mercury dime. At first glance, it looks like any other dime of its era. But beneath its silver glow lies a story of artistry and scarcity that collectors today are scrambling to possess. Designed by Adolph A. Weinman, the Mercury dime carries Lady Liberty in a winged cap, symbolizing freedom of thought, speed, and progress, powerful imagery for a nation about to endure its hardest years. Composed of 90% silver and 10% copper, each Mercury dime was a tiny piece of wealth, a lifeline in an age when every coin mattered. But here's where the story turns extraordinary. The 1930 no-mint mark variety didn't roll out in huge numbers. Fewer were struck, and even fewer survived in high quality. Most were used, passed around, scratched, and worn away in everyday life. Finding one today in very fine condition, still showing the strength of Weinman's design, is like discovering a forgotten relic that time itself tried to erase. Collectors prize this coin not just for its beauty, but for its rarity. No mint mark means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and the survival rate in strong condition is painfully low. That makes demand skyrocket. Every serious collector wants one. Every auction house lights up when one appears. And when that hammer falls, the price is nothing short of electrifying. Because here's the truth. A 1930 no-mint mark Mercury dime, in very fine condition, has been hitting auction blocks at jaw-dropping prices. And right now, as I say these words, its current market value stands at $125,000. That's not a guess. That's not a dream. That is the hard, shocking reality. A dime, just 10 cents in its day, now commanding a sum that could transform your life overnight. This is not just a coin. It is a treasure chest compressed into silver, a fortune hiding in plain sight. And the market value of this gem is not standing still. It is climbing, year by year, day by day. The truth is, if you are lucky enough to find one of these in your collection, or even inherit one unknowingly, you are holding nothing less than a piece of American history fused with wealth beyond imagination. Collectors know this, investors know this, and you should too. The 1930 no-mint mark Mercury dime is a prize of prizes, a shining trophy that cements your place among the elite of coin collectors. My tip to you, if you see one, do not let it slip away. Guard it, treasure it, and know that its future value is only pointing upward. And that's why this coin earns its place on our countdown tonight. Because it proves, without a shadow of doubt, that sometimes the smallest objects carry the biggest treasures. Now, that was just coin number one. And trust me, the story only gets more thrilling from here. Wait until you see what is next, because each coin on this list holds secrets and values that will absolutely shock you. So, stay locked in because we are just getting started. As we journey further into the secrets of American coinage, we land in the year 1939, a year the world will never forget. The storm clouds of World War II were gathering across Europe, and America was standing on the edge of great change. It was a year of caution, of resilience, of history in motion. And in the middle of it all, quietly struck at the Philadelphia Mint, came a coin that would one day shock collectors across the globe: the 1939 no-mint mark Mercury dime. At first glance, you may think it looks just like any Mercury dime. But don't be fooled. Every single line, every detail, every faint touch of silver on this coin tells a story deeper than you can imagine. Adolf A. Weinmann's masterpiece design of liberty, crowned in wings symbolizing free thought and speed, remained as powerful in 1939 as when it was first introduced in 1916. This was not just a coin, it was a message, a symbol of hope and progress for a nation preparing to face an uncertain tomorrow. Now here's where the rarity begins to reveal itself. The 1939 Mercury dime struck in Philadelphia, meaning no mint mark did not survive the decades in large quantities, especially in fine condition with a beautiful old look. Most of these dimes were spent, passed through countless hands during the tail end of the Great Depression and the early years leading to global war. Coins were used hard, worn down, and eventually lost. That is why when you find one today still retaining its original strength and detail, it becomes far more than just a piece of silver. It becomes a time machine, a preserved artifact of American history. Collectors know this. They chase this coin with determination because the year 1939 no mint mark Mercury dime has become one of those hidden treasures that everyone whispers about but only a few ever see in real life. It is the rarity of a condition that makes it shine even brighter. A coin that has survived not just the ravages of circulation, but of time itself. And now comes the part that leaves collectors stunned every single time it shows up at auction. When the gavel falls, the numbers soar higher and higher because demand for this coin never slows. Right now, today, the current market value of the 1939 no-mint mark Mercury dime in beautiful fine condition is $95,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $95,000 for a coin that was once just 10 cents in someone's pocket. This is not an exaggeration. This is not wishful thinking. This is the powerful truth of today's auction market. And remember, this coin's value is not standing still. Every year, the prices climb higher as fewer and fewer examples are available. Collectors fight for it, investors crave it, and those lucky enough to own it know they are holding what is nothing short of a treasure chest in silver. Imagine it. Something so small, so unassuming, something that may be sitting right now in an overlooked drawer, an old collection box, or a forgotten family heirloom holding within it a fortune large enough to make your life feel transformed in an instant. My tip for every collector and treasure hunter out there: never underestimate the Mercury dime. Always check the dates, always look for the no mint mark, and never let condition fool you. Because coins like the 1939 no mint mark Mercury dime prove beyond any doubt that the smallest details can carry the largest rewards. And as I always say here on Rare Coin Secrets USA, this is not fiction. This is reality. These values are verified in today's market, and they are climbing day by day. If you have one, guard it with your life. If you come across one, hold it tight and never let it slip away. This coin, without question, earns its rightful place in our countdown of the top 10 most valuable Mercury dimes. And trust me, we are just scratching the surface. The deeper we go into this list, the more shocking, the more breathtaking, the more unbelievable the treasures will become. Stay with me because the next coin on our journey might just leave you speechless. Now we take a step back in time, over a century ago, to the year 1918. The First World War had just ended. The world was trying to rebuild, and the United States was stepping into a new era of strength and progress. Amidst this atmosphere of hope and recovery, the Denver Mint quietly produced one of the most extraordinary treasures in the Mercury dime series, the 1918 D Mercury dime. At first glance, the coin might not scream its worth. It carries a soft gray shade from its decades of survival, the kind of honest toning that whispers of history rather than trying to hide it. This gray shade is not a flaw. It's a badge of authenticity, a sign that this coin has truly lived through the ages. And in very fine condition, it retains the artistry of Adolf A. Weinmann's legendary design, Lady Liberty crowned in wings, a bold symbol of free thought, swiftness, and progress, values that echoed strongly in a post-war America. But here's the magic that separates this coin from the ordinary. The D mint mark tucked discreetly on the reverse reveals it was struck in Denver. Unlike Philadelphia, which produced higher volumes, Denver's mintage numbers were much smaller. And when coins are produced in fewer numbers, time has a way of reducing their survivors even further. Many were lost, melted down, or worn away beyond recognition during the hard years that followed. Today, finding one in this kind of condition is like stumbling across a silver beacon from another era. Collectors know immediately what they are looking at when they see that D. It signals scarcity. It signals prestige. And it signals a fight at auctions that only the most determined collectors dare to enter. Every serious Mercury dime hunter has this piece on their wish list, and those who own it treat it as the crown jewel of their collection. And then comes the part that shocks even the most seasoned collectors: its price. Because the 1918 D Mercury dime in gray shaded very fine condition currently commands $133,000 in today's market. Let that number sink in. A coin that once represented 10 cents of daily life, 10 cents of bread, milk, or a ride on a trolley, is now valued as a staggering treasure chest of wealth. This is not fantasy. This is the reality of the numismatic market. And here's the truth. The value of this coin is not just high, it's climbing higher. Every year, as collectors chase fewer and fewer surviving examples, the price curve only points upward. It is one of those rare treasures that does not just hold value, it grows in value. Imagine having a coin in your collection that works like a time capsule of history and a financial powerhouse at the same time. That is exactly what the 1918 D Mercury dime represents. Collectors often say this is not just a coin, it's an heirloom, a legacy piece. If you own one, you don't just own silver. You own a slice of 1918 America, a coin born in the shadows of war, carrying the resilience of a nation, and shining today as a true treasure. My advice to every collector and treasure hunter watching this: always keep your eyes sharp for that little D. Always inspect coins carefully. And never, ever underestimate the power of condition. A very fine 1918 D like the one we're discussing today isn't just a coin. It's a ticket to numismatic greatness, a key to unimaginable wealth, and proof that the smallest objects often carry the grandest legacies. And that is why the year 1918-D Mercury dime claims its rightful spot as one of the most valuable and ultra-rare Mercury dimes in existence. But remember, we are only at coin number 3. The deeper we go into this countdown, the more unbelievable, the more shocking, and the more heart-pounding the stories and the values become. Stay right here, because the next coin on our list might just leave you staring at your screen in disbelief. As we continue down the path of hidden treasures, our journey takes us to the year 1938, a moment in American history where the nation was slowly finding its strength again after the Great Depression, just on the edge of entering a new world war. While many Americans were focused on survival, on putting food on the table, the Philadelphia Mint quietly struck a coin that would one day become one of the most breathtaking Mercury dime rarities, the 1938 no-mint mark Mercury dime. At first, it may look modest, its silver glow softened by a lightly gray shade that only comes from decades of honest aging. Yet this soft patina doesn't diminish its beauty, it amplifies it. This light gray tone whispers the passage of time, carrying with it the stories of hands that once held it, of pockets it may have rested in, and of eras it survived. And in very fine condition, the artistry of Adolph Ade. Weinmann's design still shines with strength. Lady Liberty in her winged cap, the symbol of freedom of thought and swift progress, a beacon of American resilience on the eve of global change. What makes this coin so extraordinary is not just its design, but its scarcity. The Philadelphia Mint, marked by the absence of a mint mark, produced these coins, but the survival rate in such appealing condition is astonishingly low. Most 1938 dimes were used heavily in circulation. By the time collectors realized their importance, most examples had been worn nearly flat, lost, or melted down for their silver content. To see one today in very fine condition with that delicate gray shade is like uncovering a hidden relic that time almost erased. Collectors know the truth. This coin is not simply desirable, it is in relentless demand. Auction houses light up whenever one surfaces, because every serious Mercury dime hunter knows they must have it, and there are never enough to go around. The bidding wars are fierce, the excitement is palpable, and the final hammer always leaves jaws dropping. And here is the part you have been waiting for: the value. Right now, in today's market, the 1938 no-mint mark Mercury dime in lightly gray, very fine condition holds a staggering value of $103,000. Yes, over $100,000 for a coin that was once worth just 10 cents. This is not a collector's fantasy. This is the living, breathing truth of today's auction market. Think about what that means. A dime, something so small, so overlooked, has transformed into a treasure so powerful it can change your financial story overnight. This isn't just wealth, it's history, it's legacy. It's proof that coins are far more than metal. They are time capsules of value, and this one shines brighter every year. Because here's the real truth. Its market value is only rising. With each passing year, with each surviving piece locked away in permanent collections, the demand increases and the price climbs higher. Collectors call this coin a dream find, and investors see it as an anchor of future growth. My tip to you is simple. If you are lucky enough to discover one, or if one crosses your path, hold on tight. Don't hesitate, don't second guess, because the year 1938 no mint mark Mercury dime is the kind of treasure that makes legends out of collectors. And this is why it takes its rightful place in our countdown tonight. But believe me, the deeper we go, the more shocking the values become. We're only at coin number 4, and already the numbers are breathtaking. What comes next will leave you wondering just how much hidden fortune could still be resting in your own pocket change. Stay with me because the next coin on this list will take your excitement to an entirely new level. Our journey now leads us into the year 1941, a year that would forever change America. The world was on the brink of war. The United States was watching events unfold overseas with rising tension, not yet knowing that within months, it too would be swept into the greatest conflict in modern history. And while history books remember 1941 for world events, collectors remember it for a rare and extraordinary treasure quietly struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the 1941 no-mint mark Mercury dime. At first glance, it might appear like just another dime from the early 1940s. But look closer. This coin, in very fine condition, still carries the bold artistry of Adolph A. Weinman's timeless design. Lady Liberty, crowned with wings that symbolize freedom of thought and speed, seems almost prophetic, an image of a nation preparing to defend its liberty on a global stage. The reverse, with the fasces and olive branch, perfectly captured America's dual promise of strength and peace. This was not just a coin, it was a statement of values, struck in silver, as the nation braced itself for uncertain days ahead. But here's where rarity begins to emerge. The 1941 no-mint mark dime was struck in Philadelphia, the country's oldest mint. Millions may have been produced, but finding one today in very fine condition with its original design, details still sharp, its surfaces still rich with character is a completely different story. So many were spent into circulation during the war years, worn nearly smooth, melted for silver, or lost to history. To see one survive this long, with this level of preservation, is to hold in your hands a survivor of an era that defined the world. Collectors know that the 1941 no-mint mark Mercury dime is more than just a coin, it's a legacy piece. Auction houses know it too, which is why every time one appears in this level of condition, the room crackles with energy. Collectors raise their paddles, bids climb, and the air thickens with anticipation. Because they all know how rare it is to see this coin in its glory. And then, the hammer falls, and the price shocks the room. Because right now, in today's auction market, the 1941 no-mint mark Mercury dime in very fine condition carries a current value of $88,000. Let that sink in. $88,000 for a dime that once lived in the pockets of ordinary Americans. This is no exaggeration. This is the verified reality of the market today. Think about what that means. A dime that may be hiding in a forgotten coin jar or tucked away in an old family collection could be a treasure chest worth more than many people earn in years. And this isn't a peak that's going away, its value is rising steadily. With every year, with every collector who secures one and locks it away, the number of available examples shrinks, and the price climbs even higher. For collectors, this is a must-have prize. For investors, it is a powerhouse of future growth. And for anyone lucky enough to discover one, it is nothing less than a life-changing treasure. My advice to you, never overlook a 1941 Mercury dime. Check every date. Inspect every detail. Because what might seem ordinary could in fact be your gateway to unimaginable fortune. This is why the year 1941 no-mint mark Mercury dime holds its rightful place in our countdown. It is a coin that proves again and again that small pieces of silver can hold astonishing wealth. And we are only halfway through our journey. If this coin already leaves you stunned, wait until you see the treasures that await in the second half of our list. Stay locked in because coin number 6 will raise the stakes even higher, and you won't want to miss it. Now we turn the clock back to the year 1929, a year etched in American memory as the year the stock market crashed and the Great Depression began. It was a year of fear, of loss, of sudden change. And while Wall Street was collapsing, out on the West Coast, the San Francisco Mint was quietly striking a coin that would one day stand as one of the rarest and most valuable treasures in the Mercury dime series, the 1929 Mercury dime. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary dime, but the details reveal so much more. In very fine condition, with a lightly gray shade and an old, honest look, this coin has the appearance of a relic that lived through some of America's hardest years. That soft gray tone tells the story of time itself. It's not wear, it's history, a gentle aging that only adds depth and authenticity to its beauty. Designed by the legendary Adolph A. Weinman, the Mercury dime has always been admired for its artistry. Liberty's face crowned with wings speaks of free thought, speed, and progress, a message America desperately needed in 1929. On the reverse, the fasces wrapped with an olive branch shows strength and peace side by side. But when that little S mint mark appears below the fasces, everything changes. It signals San Francisco a mint that produced far fewer coins than Philadelphia. And fewer coins mean fewer survivors. Now consider what happened in 1929. America entered its greatest economic crisis. Coins like this were not carefully stored by collectors. They were spent, passed from hand to hand, lost, or melted. Very few made it out alive in strong condition. And those that did? They are now counted among the elite treasures of numismatics. That's why collectors and auction houses treat the 1929 Mercury dime as something extraordinary. The moment one appears, the room lights up. Every serious collector knows they are looking at a rarity that almost never comes up for sale. Bids climb, energy rises, and the suspense builds because everyone knows what is about to happen when the hammer finally falls. And here's the moment you've been waiting for: the value. In today's auction market, the 1929 Mercury dime in lightly gray, very fine condition holds a breathtaking value of $125,800. Yes, $125,800 for a dime. 10 cents transformed into a treasure chest. This isn't myth. This isn't exaggeration. This is the living truth of today's numismatic market. Think about what this means. A dime struck in San Francisco during one of America's darkest years has now become a beacon of wealth and history combined. Its value is not just high, it is climbing year after year. Every time one disappears into a private collection, the available supply shrinks and the demand intensifies. The truth is simple. This coin is a fortune disguised in silver, a hidden jewel that could be sitting unnoticed in an old collection box waiting to shock the world. For collectors, the 1929 is more than just a must-have. It's a crown jewel, a legacy piece that announces prestige and knowledge. For investors, it is pure opportunity, a chance to own a piece of silver that grows in value with time. And for anyone lucky enough to discover one, it is a once-in-a-lifetime treasure that can alter your story overnight. My advice: always watch for that S. Always study the condition. And never assume a coin is ordinary, because the year 1929 Mercury dime proves that extraordinary fortunes can be hiding in the smallest places. This is why it earns its rightful place on our countdown tonight. But remember, we are far from finished. The deeper we go into this list, the rarer the treasures, the higher the values, and the more shocking the stories become. Stay with me because coin number 7 will absolutely raise the stakes to an even greater level. We now turn to a year that changed the course of human history forever: 1943. The world was in flames. World War II was raging on multiple fronts, and America was fully engaged in the fight for freedom. In the middle of this defining chapter, the Denver Mint struck a coin that, decades later, would emerge as a true treasure for collectors: the 1943 Mercury dime. At first glance, this coin may look like just another dime from the war years. But appearances can be deceiving. In very fine condition, this coin's gray shade tells the story of its journey. That subtle patina is not a flaw. It is proof of its survival, a quiet testimony that this piece of silver lived through the most challenging years of the 20th century. Its surface carries the whispers of history, of pockets it traveled through, of hands it passed between, while still holding on to the artistry of Adolf A. Weinman's timeless design. Lady Liberty, crowned with wings, still shines with strength on the obverse, a symbol of free thought and progress, even during wartime. On the reverse, the fasces and olive branch remind us of strength tempered by peace. But what transforms this coin into a rarity is the small but powerful letter D on its reverse, signaling that it was struck at the Denver Mint. Denver's output was always smaller compared to Philadelphia, and during wartime, these coins were heavily used. Soldiers, families, and citizens alike spent every dime to make it through those uncertain times. Most were worn down, lost, or melted, leaving only a tiny fraction that survived in the kind of condition collectors prize today. To find one in very fine condition, with its details still bold and its gray tone honest and rich, is like holding a survivor of the war itself in your hands. Collectors and investors alike know that when a 1943 D Mercury dime shows up in such condition, it doesn't just pass quietly, it ignites the room. Mathematos. Auction houses know what they have. Bidding wars begin. Collectors push higher and higher, because everyone understands how rarely such an example comes to market. And then comes the shocking truth. In today's market, the 1943 D Mercury dime in gray-shaded, very fine condition holds a staggering value of $83,000. That's right, $83,000 for a coin that was once worth 10 cents in the midst of war. This is no myth. This is the verified reality of today's numismatic world. Think about it. A dime minted during the darkest days of global conflict has become a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. And its value isn't frozen. It is rising steadily year after year. As more of these coins vanish into permanent collections, the scarcity grows sharper, the demand intensifies, and the price climbs higher. For collectors, owning a 1943 D is a mark of prestige, proof that you hold a survivor of history's greatest conflict. For investors, it is a powerhouse, a coin with a proven track record of growth. And for the lucky few who stumble upon one unknowingly, it is nothing less than a life-changing discovery, a hidden fortune lying quietly in silver. My tip: always study those wartime dimes carefully. Pay close attention to the mint marks, because the little d makes all the difference between ordinary change and extraordinary treasure. The 1943 D Mercury dime reminds us that hidden wealth can be found in the most unexpected places. And that's why this coin earns its place in our countdown tonight. But stay tuned, because as we move into the final stretch of this list, the treasures only grow rarer, the values climb even higher, and the stories become even more unbelievable. Get ready, because coin number 8 is about to raise the bar yet again. We now arrive at 1944, a year that marked the turning tide of World War II. The Allies were pushing forward, hope was rising across the globe, and America's industry was at full strength, producing everything from tanks to ships to weapons, and yes, even coins. And tucked among those wartime issues lies one of the most surprising treasures of the Mercury dime series, the 1944 D Mercury dime. At first glance, it may seem modest. A dime from the war years, worn with time, carrying a soft gray shade that speaks of its age. But do not be fooled. That patina isn't ordinary. Wear its proof of survival. Proof that this coin lived through one of the most intense and defining periods of human history. In very fine condition, the artistry of Adolf A. Weinman's masterpiece still shines. Lady Liberty in her winged cap on the obverse, bold and confident, and the fasces and olive branch on the reverse, a symbol of strength and peace side by side. But the key that transforms this coin from common to extraordinary lies in one small detail, the D mint mark. That letter tells us this treasure was struck at the Denver Mint. And here's the truth. Wartime Denver coins didn't survive in large numbers in collectible condition. These dimes were knotted, used, spent, and circulated heavily. People weren't saving coins in 1944. They were fighting to survive and win the war. As a result, very few 1944 D Mercury dimes survived in the kind of condition collectors crave today. That scarcity is what drives the demand sky high. Collectors fight over these coins because they know how rarely they appear. Auction houses anticipate the buzz when one comes up, and bidders push harder and harder to capture it, knowing it could be years before another of this quality surfaces again. And here comes the shocking truth. In today's auction market, the 1944 D Mercury dime in gray shade, very fine condition commands a value of $78,000. Yes, $78,000 for a dime minted in the middle of World War II. What was once worth 10 cents has become a fortune, a treasure chest in silver, a piece of history fused with unimaginable wealth. And let me tell you this, its value is not standing still. With every year, as fewer remain in circulation and more disappear into permanent collections, the demand only increases. The price climbs higher. The truth is undeniable. This is not just a coin. It is an investment, a legacy, and a priceless relic of history that grows in value every single day. Collectors regard the 1944D as a dream coin, one that cements prestige in any collection. For investors, it is a secure powerhouse with its trajectory pointed upward. And for the lucky individual who stumbles upon one unknowingly, it is nothing short of a life-changing discovery. My advice, always check your wartime dimes carefully. That little D mint mark on the reverse is a symbol of fortune. Don't overlook it. Don't underestimate it. Because as the 1944D Mercury dime proves, a coin that once passed quietly from hand to hand can today be worth more than a treasure chest of gold. And that's why this coin rightfully holds its place on our countdown. But stay with me because as we approach the final two entries, the stakes rise higher, the values grow even more staggering, and the stories become almost unbelievable. Coin number 9 will leave you absolutely stunned. We now step into the year 1931, a year that fell deep within the shadows of the Great Depression. Banks were closing, families were struggling, and every coin, every single dime, meant the difference between hardship and survival. In this storm of uncertainty, the Philadelphia Mint released a coin that today stands among the giants of numismatic treasures, the 1931 no-mint mark Mercury dime. At first glance, this coin may not sparkle like freshly minted silver. In fact, its dirty old look might make the casual eye pass it over. But seasoned collectors know better. That aged appearance, combined with its very fine condition, tells us something remarkable. This coin has lived through an era of unimaginable struggle, yet survived intact. Its wear is not a weakness, it is proof of authenticity, a silent witness to America's hardest years. On the obverse, Adolph A. Weinman's liberty still shines, her winged cap a symbol of free thought and progress. On the reverse, the fasces and olive branch remain clear, embodying strength and peace. And the absence of a mint mark tells us it came from the Philadelphia Mint. While Philadelphia struck large quantities of coins in many years, the survival rate of 1931 Mercury dimes in higher condition is shockingly low. Most were spent into the ground during the Depression. Very few were set aside. Even fewer survived with the strength we see in this condition today. That's what makes this coin so fiercely rare. Collectors prize it because it tells a story no other coin can, the story of survival against all odds. Auction houses know its power. Whenever a 1931 no-mint mark Mercury dime in very fine condition appears, the bidding is relentless. Collectors raise their paddles with determination, knowing they may never see another like it for years. The energy builds, the bids climb, and when the hammer finally falls, the numbers are jaw-dropping. Because here is the undeniable truth. In today's market, the 1931 no-mint mark Mercury dime in dirty old look, very fine condition carries a value of $100,000. Yes, $100,000 for a dime that once kept families fed during the darkest days of the Depression. This is no myth, no exaggeration. This is the hard, electrifying reality of today's numismatic market. Think about what that means. A dime, long overlooked, carrying the dirt and patina of history, now valued as a six-figure treasure. And here's the most exciting part. Its value is not done climbing. With each passing year, with every coin tucked away in private collections, the available supply shrinks and demand rises higher. The truth is simple. This coin is more than wealth. It is a legacy, a silver time capsule growing more valuable by the day. For collectors, the year 1931 no-mint mark Mercury dime is a badge of honor, a coin that cements their place among the elite. For investors, it is a powerhouse, combining history and financial growth in one. And for anyone lucky enough to discover one unknowingly, it is the kind of discovery that can transform an ordinary day into the day of a lifetime. My tip to you, never overlook the older coins, even if they appear dirty or aged. Sometimes the rougher look hides the most powerful treasure. The 1931 no-mint mark Mercury dime is proof that appearance alone does not define value. History, rarity, and survival do. And that is why this coin holds its rightful place near the top of our countdown. But now, we stand at the edge of the ultimate reveal, the final coin on our list. If you thought these values were staggering, if you thought these stories were unbelievable, just wait until you see coin number 10. The finale will leave you absolutely breathless. We now arrive at the crown jewel of our countdown, the grand finale, coin number 10. For this, we turn this clock back to the year 1926. America was in the middle of the roaring 20s, a decade of jazz, prosperity, and cultural revolution. But even in this glittering era, the San Francisco Mint struck a coin that would prove to be more valuable than gold decades later, the 1926 Mercury dime. At first glance, this coin may not look flawless. In fact, on the obverse, you can see some scratches on the front, the kind of marks left from circulation and the passing of time. But do not be deceived, because even with these small imperfections in very fine condition, this coin is one of the most coveted treasures in all of numismatics. Why? Because rarity doesn't just come from beauty, it comes from scarcity, from survival, from the few that endure when millions vanish. The S mint mark beneath the fasces on the reverse reveals this coin's origin, the San Francisco Mint. And unlike Philadelphia, San Francisco struck fewer coins, making every survivor from 1926 incredibly precious. Now consider the passage of time. This coin was used in the bustling economy of the 1920s, carried through the hardships of the Depression, and endured decades of circulation. Most 1926 dimes were worn into oblivion, lost or melted down for their silver. Very few remain today in collectible grades. And to find one in very fine condition, even with scratches, is like uncovering a buried treasure chest from another century. Collectors know the truth. When a 1926 Mercury dime appears, the excitement is electric. Auction houses anticipate the storm. Collectors push bids higher and higher because they know this opportunity may not come again. And when the hammer falls, jaws drop, because the numbers are not just impressive, they are life-changing. Here it is. The moment you've been waiting for in today's market, the 1926 Mercury dime, in very fine condition, even with some scratches, carries a stunning value of $110,000. Yes, $110,000 for a single dime. What was once worth 10 cents is now a six-figure treasure, a fortune in silver that proves beyond any doubt how powerful and astonishing rare coins can be. And let me be clear, this is not hype. This is not a dream. This is the reality of the numismatic market today. And the truth is, its value is only climbing. Every year, as collectors lock their examples into permanent collections, the number of available coins shrinks, and demand surges even higher. The 1926 Mercury dime is not just a coin. It is an heirloom, a legacy, a time capsule of American history that doubles as a financial powerhouse. For collectors, this coin is a crown jewel, a prize that defines their collection. For investors, it is a treasure chest that grows more valuable with time. And for anyone lucky enough to stumble upon one, it is nothing short of a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, the kind that makes ordinary people realize they have been holding extraordinary wealth all along. And that is why the 1926 Mercury dime closes our list tonight. It is a shining example of what makes the Mercury dime series so legendary: beauty, history, rarity, and values that can leave you breathless. And there you have it. Our top 10 most valuable and ultra-rare Mercury dimes that could be hiding right in plain sight. 10 tiny pieces of silver, each one holding stories of America's past, and each one commanding values so staggering they can change lives in an instant. Remember, this is not fiction. These prices are real, they are current, and they are climbing every single day. What was once pocket change is now a treasure chest. And one of these coins could still be out there, waiting for someone like you to discover it. This is why I built this channel, Rare Coin Secrets USA, to bring you the newest updates, the truest stories, and the hidden treasures that the world of coins has to offer. Every day, we uncover something fresh, something powerful, something that could change the way you look at the coins in your pocket forever. So if you enjoyed this journey through history and treasure, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell, because tomorrow I will be back with more secrets, more discoveries, and more treasures that could be waiting in your very own collection. Until then, keep your eyes sharp, your coins safe, and your passion alive because you never know which coin in your hand could be your hidden fortune.